I'm K. Surodashwini, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Technology. So the course name, Technical English, and the topic which we are going to discuss about communication. Communication, if we talk about it, so not only the human being, even the animals and plants also used to communicate with each other. So without communicating, we cannot survive in this world. So what is communication? A communication is an act of transferring an information from one place to another or even from one person to person. So the term requires an element of success only when we are transmitting the message or even the informations, ideas, and even emotions. Here we have three parts of communication: sender, message, and the recipient. Why these three parts are very important in the whole communication process? Because the sender is the person who is going to create the message, and the message, here the content, and the recipient who is going to receive the message and going to interpret it. That's why these three parts are very important and it plays a vital role in the whole communication. Here we have the categories of communication. So here I have listed 4 categories of communication: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and visualization. Let us see all these 4 categories of communication detailed. The first one is verbal communication. So just think about the topic, verbal communication. Verbal means usage of words. With the usage of words, if you try to communicate with each other, and that is called as verbal communication. So this should be include face-to-face or even telephonic conversation, or even if we communicate through the radios or television, whatever the media sources which we have, all that comes under verbal communication. The next one, non-verbal communication. So this type is totally opposite to the verbal communication, because in the verbal communication, we have to use the words. But in the non-verbal communication, without the usage of words, we try to communicate with the people. So how? So here we have the answer: covering body languages and through the gestures, and also it includes how we dress up and also how we act up with the people, all comes under non-verbal communication. The next one is written communication. So written, through writing mode, we have to communicate with the people. How? Here we have this. Through writing a letters to the whatever, to your friends or business oriented, or even you can send the emails, or even the social medias will help you to communicate, and through the books, magazines, and through the internet. These are all comes under written communication. And next one, visualization. So visually, so how we can communicate visually? So through the charts, graphs, and even we can use the maps, logos. So by visually seeing aids, if we can use all these comes under visualization. The next one is process of communication. So why process is very important in the communication? Because if we didn't follow up any process throughout the communication, then the communication is ineffective. If we want to communicate effectively, we have to follow the process which we have. So here, the communication is a dynamic process, and whatever the idea which we are trying to convey, that should follow some rules and mediums. Let's see one by one, very detailed. So before that, we'll see the picture here. So here, the communication process. So the communication process starts from the sender and it ends to receiver. So who starts the process? The sender. And who ends the process? A receiver. And between what is happening? So the sender is the person who encoding the message, and the message is here, and who will going to decode the message is the receiver, and the final stage is feedback, and which is also given by the receiver. And here the message is called as the noise. So here we have 7 major elements of communication process. This is what we have seen in that picture, but here we are going to see detailedly somewhat. First one is sender. So what is the work of the sender here? Here the sender, or we can also call him as a communicator. So the sender or the communicator is a person who initiates the conversation, which means he is the one who is going to create the message. That's why here we are calling him as the initiator. And whatever the ideas he is just delivering, that depends upon his own intention and his own knowledge. The next one, encoding. So already we know who going to create the message, the sender only. So encoding is nothing but it is the creation of the message. Only the sender begins the encoding process. And he will create the message with the usage of words and also the non-verbal methods. So for example, symbols, signs, body gestures. So whatever the mode he would like to be convey, he can choose it. And up to the content is based on the sender's knowledge only. And the next one is message. So here, once the encoding process is finished, and definitely the message also get ready. So the sender gets the message that he intends to convey. So how the message should be? It might be written, oral, symbolic, non-verbal. So non-verbal in the sense we can call body gestures, silence, sigh, sound. All these are all comes under non-verbal, and the message contains all these things. So what is the most important thing in the message? So the message should trigger the response of the receiver. So that much quality the message should have. The next one, communication channel. So the sender chooses the medium. Who will choose the medium? The sender is the person who is going to choose the medium because he is the initiator. He is the one who is going to encode the message, and obviously he has the rights to choose the medium. So the next one is the choice of medium depends on the interpersonal relationship between the sender and the receiver. The interpersonal relationship, how close they were actually, the sender and the receiver, depends upon that only we can choose the medium. So the medium also oral, virtual, written, sound or gesture, whatever the medium which the sender likes to send, he can choose it. The next one, the receiver. The receiver is the person for whom the message is intended or targeted. So he is the one who going to decode the message. Decoding is nothing but the interpretation of the message. So the receiver try to understand the message properly, and then he has to interpret it. So the receiver decodes a message depends on his subject knowledge and through his experiences and the trust in which he have and the relationship with the sender. This is the most important thing. So if the receiver want to understand the message clearly, means it depends upon the relationship with the sender. The next one is decoding. So decoding, who will decode? The receiver, obviously. The receiver interpret the sender's message. So how he going to interpret the message? Only if we understand that message clearly, he could be able to interpret the message. If the message should communicate properly, only if the receiver decode it, understand it very well. The next one is feedback. So who will give the feedback? And here the feedback is a final step and which is given by the receiver. So once the receiver received the message, he tried to interpret and also send the feedback to the sender. So the response of the receiver can be both verbal and also the non-verbal. So feedback is very important. It is a final stage, and as well as why it is important, because only then we comes to know that receiver understand the message. If we understand properly means he can give the feedback. At the same time, we comes to the conclusion that it is a effective communication. So almost we have completed the categories and the process of communication. Right now, we will move on to the organizational communication. So normally anybody can communicate, but still how the organization people will communicate with each other. So it's something different from the normal communication. And let us see what are the types are available in the organization communication. So the first one which we are going to see is internal communication. So internal communication, from the name itself, we get an idea that internally, whatever we are communicating, that should be in the internal. So internal communication takes place within the organization or group, and most importantly, that internal communication occurs between the employers and the employees. So here we have the list of examples for internal communication. So goal orientation. First one which we have, goal orientation. So internally in an organization, they can discuss about what are the goals they were trying to achieve, and performance appraisal. They can also discuss based on the performance, what are the appraisals they were going to give. So all those details they'll communicate inside the organization. And training, if they were wishing to conduct any training programs, they can also discuss all those details in the internal. So the next thing is, here you have the clear clarification for internal communication. So from where it starts, from the board of the directors to the workers. So the internal communication starts from the board of the directors, uppermost level. So under the board of the directors, we have departmental managers, and under them we have the workers. So board of the directors, department managers, and finally workers. So in between, we have some more communications like downward communication, upward communication, and lateral communication. We will discuss detailedly about what is the downward communication, upward communication, lateral communication in the upcoming slides. So before that, we'll see what is external communication. So if you understand clearly what is internal communication, then it is easy for you to understand what is external communication. So from the topic itself, we comes to understand external, so outside. So it addresses people outside the organization. So for example, so if you're dealing or communicating with the customers or the clients, the public, or even the press, or even if you are communicating to the government, all these things comes under external communication. So in what mode, in what medium we will communicate with the outside of the organization? We have listed some more examples here. So like through the letters, making the brochures, through the telephone calls, or else if we conduct any business meeting outside, press releases, or any visual presentation, audio visual presentation. So these are all some examples for external communication. So now we're coming to the point, what is upward communication? Already I just told you upward communication, downward communication, and lateral communication, or in the internal communication. Let's see one by one, but before that, first thing is upward communication. So large organizations have different hierarchical levels or tiers. So where this communication will occur? So mostly in the larger organization. So the best example for larger organizations, we have banks and railways. the apt examples. So upward communication is one which moves upward. So upward means upward only. So for example, from bottom to top level. So how it is going to communicate? From bottom to top level. So the next thing, here we have some examples for upward communication. From employees to supervisor, or else if we communicate with supervisors to manager and managers to executive, which means from the lower level to the upper level. Clear? Here we have some examples of upward communication in an organization. So here they'll communicate about employee suggestions and market reports. The employee who working in the organization, they go and report whatever they have worked, and also performance report like this is and all I have worked. So in order to report that, or else a feedback on new products, if they have launched any new products, they can also give the feedback for that. And the employee also request for the facilities or instructions from the upward people. So this is upward communication. And the next one is downward communication. Downward communication is totally different from upward communication. So it moves from top to the bottom. So whereas in the upward communication, bottom to the top, but the downward communication is top to the bottom. For example, from CEO downwards. So CEO is the upmost, topper level. So from the topper CEO to downwards, like to the workers. Or else they'll communicate senior executive to junior level functionaries, or else head of the division to the head of the unit. The next one is formal communication. So formally, so all the communication are not equal to the formal, right? So formally means the people who we keep a distance. So that's what formal communication. Mostly this type of communication occurs in hierarchical place, hierarchical organization. For example, in an organization, if they want to conduct any staff meeting, or else if they're going to conduct any union management meeting, branch managers conferences level, or else if they're going to do any periodical sales review meeting. So such meetings, they'll be conducted very formally in a formal pattern. So that's why this is comes under formal communication. Next one is informal communication. Here also, if you understand formal communication, then it is easy for you to differentiate informal communication. So this type of communication takes place in an outside the formal forum. So the best example is this type of communication occurs in smaller or loosely knitted organization, the developing organization, not the developed one. So informal communication takes place through the chats, conversation, or else informal talks and the like. So which means informal communication means we know very well, we communicate informally to our friends and the well-known person, right? So how we communicate through the chats and normal conversations. So that's how this informal communication also work out. The next one, lateral communication. So we know very well what is a formal communication and informal communication, and upward, downward, all these things we are clear now. Next one is lateral communication. This type of communication takes place also in the organization. But what is the difference here? It is not like a upward and as well as in downward. This goes in different direction. So mostly it proceeds in a horizontal manner. So be clear with this. It is not the upward nor the downward. It is totally different. It is a horizontal manner. So for example, if we want to say from one branch head to the other, from one division head to the other, to make it clear, from one student to the student, from one principal to the principal. So in that way, we have to be compared like a peer level communication, if you want to say it. So horizontal manner, peer level communication. So that's what lateral communication. Next one, interactive communication. So obviously you are very well know that communication itself, it's a two-way process. Here we are discussing about interactive communication, interaction. So if you want to interact with each other means you need a one more person to talk. So if there is no other person means it is not an interaction. So for example, if you talk about lectures and all, if I'm taking no, this is actually it is not the interaction. I'm only talking here. But if I want to interact means the response, I'm expecting the response. So interactive communication is essentially a two-way process. So if I want to say some examples for this type of communication is like meeting, conferences, teleconferencing, group discussion. So imagine that without the other people, do we conduct all these things? No. So that's why this is called as interactive communication. The next one is grapevine communication. So grapevine communication, don't think that it is a difficult type of communication. It is just relevant to the informal communication. So this type of communication also occurs in an organization. So grapevine communication is a kind of informal communication that provides in an organization and businesses. So the source of such communication may not be clear. Till now, this type of communication is not very clear. But this type of communication spread how? How this type of communication will spread? Like a gossips and the rumors. So if you're spreading any gossips and rumors, we cannot go and directly communicate. So indirectly only we can communicate. So this is also a kind of informal communication. So now we have completed communication and also the process of communication and categories of communication and also that one. And now we are moving on to organizational barriers. So if we are taking an organization, it is not the easier one to communicate with each other. There were a lot of problems will occur in order to communicate, in order to organize everyone. So how the organization facing a trouble and how and what are the barriers they were having. So communication barriers can include anything that prevent communicators to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time. So this is what communication barrier. So if we cannot able to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, then it should be considered as communication barrier. So we'll see one by one. So the first barrier is communication skill and styles. So basically, if we talk about communication skill and styles means it is a good thing. We'll see it as a positive one. But how this communication skill and style also one of the barrier here. So just imagine people have different communication skills and styles means some people will be highly detailed when they were communicating with the people. And some people, they generally talk. They won't go detailedly. So that what will happen, the listener, the receiver, if he cannot able to understand the general things, it is also comes under the barrier. Or else if the receiver don't have much time, but the communicator detailedly explaining to him means he gets bored, the receiver. So that's why the communication skills and styles also considering here has a barrier. The next barrier, disengagement. So if we are working means definitely without engagement, we cannot complete our work. When there is no engagement from both parties, here the both party refers to the sender and the receiver, and also the employer and the employees. We can take anything. So when there is no engagement between the employer and the employees, and definitely there is not an effective communication. This disengagement will definitely ruin the purpose of effective communication. That's why when we are working, we have to be engaged with the people. So Still, organizations across the world are facing the same problem. They were all fighting the problem of disengaged workplace. So here, what is the problem and what is going on? So they are struggling to catch their employees' attention. So the employers trying to grab the attention of the employees. So if they were engaged to one another means this problem will be rectified. So disengagement in the workplace is also considered as one of the barrier. The next thing, organizational structure. So in our working place, there were so many structures. One organization is not similar to the another one. So when we talk about the organizational structure, the complex and the rigid organizational structure definitely makes a problem. So this is also one of the reason and the main culprit for inefficient communication. So how it is happening? If a company is highly hierarchical means, what will happen if you are sending any message or any information, it will just slowly travels from one level to another, one layer to another. In the final stage, in the final layer, totally the message gets collapsed and disappeared. So that's why the organizational structure also considered here as a problem. The next one, information overload. So basically, we'll expect our employees to have a lot of information, but too much of information also cause more damage. We should not just give more of information to the people. So yet information overload has also been one of the biggest communication barrier. So we always have to avoid too much of information when you're communicating with each other. So short and crispy, then only the information will reach the people. So avoid information overloading. So what will happen if we have too much of information when we're communicating with the people to the extent? So here we have the negative impacts, like it will affect the employees' well-being, and it also affects the productivity of the company, of the institution, or else it also affects the total success of the work. So that's why, so limited information will help you to develop the organization. Next one, lack of trust. So basically trust is very important here. So when we talk about the organization, definitely without trust, we cannot survive in that place. When there is no trust, there is no effective communication. Just don't forget this point. When there is no trust with anybody and there is no effective communication, trust each other, then that will help you to understand clearly, to read the other people's mind easily. In other words, we can say when employees don't trust their employers, or else the leaders, or else the managers, this will definitely make a problem. So this is why, and that is why we are facing a lot of problem when we are working. And so what is the solution we have to be give for this problem? So we have to trust the people when we are working. So at the workplace, we need the peace. And to get the peace, we just trust the people who are working with us, but not the blind trust. Just analyze the people and try to trust them. And the next thing, clarity, consistency, and frequency. So all these three things are very important for the effective communication. So communication professionals need to understand the importance of clear, consistent, and frequent communication. So why the professional needs to all these things? Because if you want to communicate with the people, they must clearly communicate. If there is no clarity in thoughts in their words, and definitely the receiver won't understand that. So clarity is very important. When message across different channels are not consistent, the trust get hurt. Because of this thing, because of the trust, we try to communicate clearly. So consistency is very important because we are just traveling from different channels nowadays. The message actually travels from different channels. When they were traveling, the message travels from one place to another. So if there is no consistency means, and definitely the trust of the people will affect. The trust gets hurt. And the next thing, when messages don't get delivered frequently. So frequency is very important, because if there is a no frequency of communication, and definitely there will not be the updates. So to get the information updated is very important in the workplace. So we have to be keep it in the mind that clarity and consistency and frequency will help and will consider us as a professional. Next one, listening. So when we talk about communication, we have listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So from all these things, what we think, speaking is very important to communicate. But apart from speaking, listening is also plays a vital role in the communication process. So see here, moreover, listening is often much more important than speaking. So here they were considering, apart from speaking, listening is very important. Yet many companies still don't understand the importance of encouraging employees. So this is the problem why and what our organization were not developing. So nowadays, not only the nowadays, in all throughout the days, what the employers were doing, they were not encouraging the employees' voice and their feedbacks. If we listen to them, we can also get some ideas, and through those ideas, we can develop our organization. So listening also one of the barrier. It is not the barrier. If we are not listening, then it will be the barrier. And the next thing is wrong communication channel. So when we are selecting the channel, we have to be very careful, because there are different communication channel people use nowadays. So if you are not selecting the appropriate channel to communicate with the people, then it also considered as a communication barrier. So we have to make sure we are selecting the proper communication channel. So employees, to make sure that they use the right channel to inform their people and also deliver relevant information in a timely manner. So here what is very important? Here timing. So if you are communicating means, if the message didn't delivered in a time, then definitely the barrier will occur. There won't be the effective communication. So choosing the wrong communication channel is also a complication for the effective communication. The next one, demographic and cultural differences. So here, if communicators are not aware of demographic and cultural differences, and it is also one of the barriers which they were facing. So what we have to do here is to find a common ground for effective communication. So and try to adapt with the world. So wherever we are working, we just try to flexible and try to adapt with the work culture. So if you're not fit for that culture means we cannot able to survive. So what we have to do, we try to adapt to the work culture in order to survive, in order to get successful. So demographic and cultural differences is also important, because here in our country, in different states and different people were working in the companies, and so that we have to be communicate or survive is important. And next thing, wrong communication technology. So already we have seen wrong communication channel, as how wrong communication channel will make a trouble for effective communication. As the same here also, wrong communication technology is also one of the problem for the effective communication. In the sea of available technology, employers needs to be able to find and implement solution that best fit their organizational needs and goals. So what here says, so nowadays we have a lot of technology we are using. So if we are not finding the proper technology to deliver a message, and definitely that will drag us into the wrong path. So what we have to do here, we must know what is our need and what is our goal of an organization first of all. If we find out that goals and the needs of our organization, and that will be helpful for us to communicate, and that will be helpful for us to find out the proper technology in order to deliver the message. So wrong communication technology is also here considered as one of the barrier for effective communication. So far we have discussed about what is communication and the categories of communication. In the categories of communication, we have discussed verbal, non-verbal, written, and visualization communication and all. And after the categories of communication, we also discussed the process of communication. So I hope you people would know and get successful to learn the process of communication. And you also understood what is the importance of process. And after the process of communication, we also talk about the organizational communication. In that organizational communication, we have discussed a lot of types in that. So what are the organizational communication we have discussed? So the internal communication and the external communication, upward communication, downward communication, and lateral communication. So there were so many communications we have underwent, and like grapevine communication, formal communication, and also we have discussed the informal communication and all. So just the next thing what we have discussed, what are the barriers we are facing in the organizations. So here also we must to be aware that what are the barriers occurs in the communication. If we have learned all those barriers, means we can try to at least try to overcome from those barriers and be the successful worker or the employer of the company.